What do you get when you combine an ancient process with modern manufacturing techniques? Forterra's Measham site in Leicestershire has the capacity to manufacture 100 million of its eco-stock bricks each year and has been described by the company as the most modern and fully automated soft mud brick factory in the UK.
Our Measham plant, it's what's known as a soft mud plant, so the bricks it produces are designed to replicate handmade bricks. So essentially we're trying to replicate what people did many years ago in terms of throwing clay into a mould and then firing it. The clay comes from on site. We've got a quarry which is probably about 200 metres away from the factory. So the clay's shipped across, goes through a clay processing plant where we kind of grind it down into much smaller particles. Then that goes into a mixer, mixed with various additives. Then it goes into another machine for further mixing and then is thrown into the mould. Then the bricks are demoulded. They go into the dryer where about 30% of the moisture, roughly, that's in the clay is removed before they go into the kiln for final firing.
Forterra has also focused heavily on sustainability and net zero, with the Measham plant sourcing its clay from its very own quarry adjacent to the factory, helping to reduce transport footprint.
I guess net zero, it's probably, for me, our biggest challenge. I think one of our issues is everybody is at a different point in their journey. I've been working in this area for well over 20 years, so a lot of the easy wins that people are looking at now, we probably did 15 or 20 years ago. So we're left with the challenging element of net zero. So for example, about 60% of our carbon footprint is from the natural gas used to fire our bricks, and at the moment there's no real solution to that. Longer term we're looking at hydrogen, but grid connected hydrogen is probably the best part of 10 years away for us at the moment. In terms of the work that we've done, we looked at readiness for if the government blended into the grid. So here at our Measham Red Bank site, we've got a very small batch kiln. And when I say very small, it can fire about 10 to 12,000 bricks. We converted that a couple of years ago to run on a 20 to 25% hydrogen blend, basically just to see what effect that would have on A, the product, and B, the refractories within the kiln. We found that we couldn't tell the difference between the products that were fired on hydrogen and natural gas that came out of that kiln. We've also done some work at sector level, up at St Helens. Ceramics UK led a sector project where we built a 100% hydrogen kiln, and again consortium members all put product through that, and we found that we could use hydrogen fairly easily. I think that the challenge is we can't all afford to go out and build a brand new dedicated hydrogen kiln. Most of it's going to be retrofit, so we're talking to our kiln suppliers around what a hydrogen kiln looks like for us. They're suggesting like dual firing, so potentially 2 burners, 1 natural gas, 1 hydrogen, and the next part of our trial process is to look at converting a smaller kiln to 100% hydrogen, and so we're hoping to have the work on that done late this year, and hoping to fire it January, February next year.
Looking at future plans, the Measham site will continue to trial higher blends of hydrogen as part of its zero carbon firing roadmap, which is integral to Forterra's broader strategy to reduce carbon emissions across the group's sites.
We're open to anything. We're looking at a number of different hydrogen options at the moment. We're also looking at we've looked at carbon capture. We did a desktop study of if we were to build a new factory, what would a carbon capture plant look like? That was quite scary. It would cost more than the brickworks and take up a similar amount of space and have a similar energy demand, which is really good information to have, because it kind of makes the planning a bit more interesting, because there's a lot more room to find. I guess the next thing that we're looking at in terms of our carbon journey is process improvements. So looking at reducing the amount of certain materials that are in the product. That's to a degree the next easy win for us. But then I think the next step change will be hydrogen. As I said, it's probably going to be early to mid 2030s before that's available, but we need to do the groundwork now to make sure that we can actually use it as a fuel. And then I think that almost the silver bullet at the end of it is when carbon capture becomes financially viable with secure storage solutions for the CO2 as its kind of final resting place.